Hey guys, Marcin here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look at the free-to-play STR TOA with her EZA, and she seems to be very good from reading her unit info. She might actually be better than some of the summonable unit EZAs from this year, which is kind of crazy considering she is a free-to-play unit. So she's got a pretty random link set. With some of the other characters, like the other versions of Toa and the other demon characters, she is going to share some links with them. Obviously, when it comes to normal extreme teams, really she's only got like Thirst for Conquest and potentially Demonic Power. But she seems like a very interesting unit, right? So obviously as a free-to-play character, she's got a 77% leader skill, which is for heroes, or STR types 50%. Not really super important, I guess, but for free-to-play, that's what we expect from the leader skills. Her super attack is greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn and does supreme damage to the enemy. So greatly raise for 1 turn, that's pretty good. And then her passive, attack and defense 200%, so it's already a pretty good start right there. Then she gets an additional 150% when performing a super. She has a high chance to dodge if she's in slot 2 or 3. And I mean, she's a support unit, so outside of a showcase like this where we're going to focus on her, we probably would just be floating her in slot 3 anyway. She has an additional chance to dodge 5% up to 15 with each attack evaded. So once she's dodged 3 times, she has a 65% chance to dodge going forward. She gives all allies attack and defense 30% as long as there are another 3 or more extreme class allies on the team. So you do need to build the team with more extreme units on it if you want her to actually be a support. So she is another one of these characters where her EZA is probably going to be that little bit better for the Heroes team overall once the new units come out, right? Like if the new Fu and the new Demon King Demigra are really good, obviously we have the Mechikabra EZA, then of course we have the potential that the extreme version of the Heroes team could be really good, right? So that's very good. Then she gives all allies attack and defense 15% for 2 turns after she dodges 3 or more attacks. When there are 3 or more extreme class enemies on the team once only. So it's a bit weird that it's a once only thing, but when she dodges the 3rd attack of the fight, she will then give an extra 15% attack and defense for 2 turns. Now, of course, if you are using her as a floating 3rd slot unit, all that really means is the next turn is going to get the support. In this showcase, obviously, it does mean that if she dodges the 3rd attack in slot 2, the unit in slot 3 is actually going to get that little bit of a buff as well. And then the interesting thing is, I am going to do a team showing off like the sort of how good the slug team is going to be with all of these new demon units, because we've been doing some of the showcases for these guys on his 200% lead. She is on his 200% lead as well. But the big thing that she gets here that I wanted to highlight in her initial showcase is that she gets an additional attack and defense 100% when performing a super, gives allies an extra 2 key and attack and defense 20%, and changes all AGL key spheres to STR key spheres when all allies are Dragon Ball heroes or crossover. So that means that we're running her on a full heroes team. So in order to meet the requirements, we've got the double Vegito leads. We've got Super Saiyan 4 Vegito to go with the AGL Vegito. But then we've got the rest of the team built for extreme, right? Dark Mask King, we've got the Int Toa, who's a really good support and link partner, shares all 7 links with the free-to-play Toa. And of course, Mechikabra, they've got a very good EZA. So we've got our other 3 extreme units. And so she's going to be getting her full passive active. So that means she gets 250% on super and provides 50% attack and defense to the team. And of course, once she gets the 3rd dodge, it's going to be 65% for the next rotation as well. So that's really good. If we take a look at her here on this rotation, so we've got the Dark Mask King and then Mechikabra in slot 3. She shares Shattering the Limit and then obviously Master of Magic with Mechikabra, which is a attack 15% buff. So she's got 227 K at the start of the turn. But that means that just from her base like defense in her passive, she's going to get 250% on super. So her defense, she's already going to get another like 560 odd K. Then, of course, her super attack effect is that she greatly raises. So that should add at least another 100k or so onto it as well. So after supering, like doing 1 super attack on this turn, her defense is going to be around 900k. And she has a 50% chance to dodge. Now, we've talked about with some of the summonable units, how that level of defense without having any sort of like defensive tech isn't really super crazy. But you have to bear in mind that she's a free-to-play unit and she's a support unit as well. So a free-to-play support unit that can get up to, like if she gets an additional super, she'll have over 1 million defense with a 50% chance to dodge while providing 50% support to everybody on the rotation as a free-to-play unit. Like, that seems pretty good. And then, yeah, her attack stat here is 6.9. Now, bear in mind, again, this is her with Master of Magic and Shattering the Limit. So we will get to see at least one turn here where we're going to get her linked up with the Int Towa. She's on the next turn, though, so we're going to have to float her off. Now, the thing is, I think it's fair in the showcase, we will get to see a turn with her linked up with Int Towa. And on that turn, she's going to look really, really good because of all the links. But you have to remember, if you are running her on a team, chances are you probably are running her as a floating slot 3 support unit, which means we're never going to get, unless we have a starting rotation right at the beginning of an event where they're both on the same turn, we're not really going to get a turn where she's linked up with Int Towa, because if we are running Int Towa on the team as well, we're running her as a floating 3rd slot support unit as well. So the chances of them ever being on the same rotation once you actually get yourself established, or if you start, you know, if you get lucky and you actually start with the starting rotations you want, you're not going to see them really linked up at all. But for the sake of the showcase, obviously we want to see her at her full potential. So we got Vegito here now as well. He's not going to share any links, but obviously does provide a little bit of support to crossover allies. So she's at 250k for the start of this turn, thanks to because obviously she got Master of Magic last turn with Mechikabra, which she doesn't have now, but that doesn't give any defense, whereas Vegito is giving 20% defensive support. So she's got a little bit extra defense on this turn. She's basically got 250k, which means she's getting 250% on super. I think I calculated the thing wrong last time, actually, because it should be whatever her defense is, and then times 2.5 is what she gets on super. So yeah, she's getting 625k on super. So that puts her up to like 875k, plus the defense she gets from the actual super attack effect. So pretty much on this turn, she's basically hitting like 1 million defense when she super attacks, which, again, for a free-to-play unit, 1 million defense while providing 50% support to everybody on the rotation. And then once we get the 3rd dodge, she gives that little bit of extra support. And of course, remember, we keep saying, like, you know, she's doing all this, she's got this defense with 50% chance dodge to back it up. She obviously increases her dodge chance as well as she gets each of the dodges. So that's pretty good. 6.5. I mean, her attack, obviously nothing crazy. But again, you know, as a support unit, I wouldn't be expecting her to do insane numbers. It's going to be very interesting to see the turn with the Int Towa, though, because with all the links active, some of her links do give some very good bonuses. And I believe, I think she has at least one link that gives a solid amount of defense. I have to double check once she comes around again. But we'll go ahead and do this. Get you floated off here. And then, yeah, I have actually, funnily enough, I have beaten this Golden Freezer Movie Boss Red Zone stage with the Heroes team back when the Movie Boss Red Zone 2 came out. But obviously I'm trying to try out a bunch of different stages. I don't want to do all the showcases on the same stages. But we are kind of limited on what we have for the Heroes team. And as I said, with this Towa, I feel like she's going to be much better when the newer units come out and we have a more variation on the teams. Because I assume that the Universe Tree Goku and Fu are both going to have 200% leads for Heroes. Whereas obviously now, like if we wanted to run a full Extreme Heroes team, you have to use Hearts as the like 200% lead. And obviously he's pretty outdated at this point. I mean, obviously he'll be getting buffed by all these other new units on the team, especially the supports. I mean, him and Mechikabra would be interesting considering they are both Big Bad Boss's characters, but Hearts is a little bit outdated now defensively. So hopefully the Fu is an extreme, I mean, it will be extreme, but a 200% leader. And then if he's really good, especially if he's really tanky, then the extreme team is definitely going to be looking pretty solid. So let's see what we can do here. I think, did we just get, are we on low enough HP to get the Towa heal? What's the HP requirement for her? It's 50%, isn't it? We actually might be. Which would also be annoying because it means she loses her dodge chance for this turn. But, so, yeah, now that we've got all these links active, so solid support is another 15% attack. Scientist is 20% defense. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of, right? So that's a huge defensive boost. And then demonic power is another 20% attack and 10% defense. Battlefield Diva is 3 key and then extra dodge chance. So if she's got 428k defense, I can do this here literally. We'll get the calculator up for the calcs. So 428k at start of turn, which means if she gets 250% on super, when she super attacks, she's basically getting 1 million defense. And then there's her super attack effect as well. So after supering once on this turn, she's going to be over 1.5 million defense with what? She's already dodged once. So a 55% chance to dodge plus an extra random like 5% dodge chance because of Battlefield Diva. So that's pretty good. So we'll go ahead and do this, and then I guess we'll just grab those for you. Hopefully we don't get crushed here. Dark Mask King does have his extra defense, so hopefully he lives this, and then with all the support on this turn he should, and then hopefully heals it basically all back. Yeah, 378. 9.2 million for Dark Mask King with all this support. Sadly no crit, but that is basically a full heal. And then the normal attack kind of tops it up a little bit as well. 12.8 million. Not bad. Not bad for a farmable free-to-play character. And then there's another dodge. That's their dodge maxed out. So you can see, yeah, Towa's, everyone's numbers just went up because now everybody is getting an extra 15% support. So that's going to come in clutch on the next turn as well for the Vegito rotation. Oh, yeah, see, Towa, I think we got the Towa passive turn. I'm not sure. So she'd lost her dodge, but I think I need to, yeah, we need to do this in case we get supered in slot 1 again. So we'll go ahead and do that. That gives you your post-super defense. The Towa support that carries over from the previous turn. So he's at 816k start of turn, which is pretty good. I might heal just in case. We're going to heal just in case Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. I was going to say lets me down, but then to be fair, if he gets supered and doesn't counter, he dies regardless, right, from full health. So Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito should be okay. I think we're still within the turn restrictions for him to have his damage reduction. And we got the post-super defense from the active skill. So, yeah, so 73k, that's fine. But yeah, so I mean, Towa, for a free-to-play unit, like I say, she, if you think about her compared to, we haven't finished all the summonable unit showcases, the rest of those will be out today, but like, comparing her to some of the other units like Vegex and the Super Saiyan 3s, even the Xeno Super Saiyans, right, with the family support. Like, she's supporting the entire Heroes team. She is a little bit more restricted because you want the extreme class allies. And then obviously we're showing her off here at her best with the full Heroes or crossover team. Whereas if we go ahead and use her on the Bojack team, I keep saying Bojack instead of Slug now that Bojack's got his EZA and is on the team. But if we use her on the Slug team, obviously we've got enough extreme class allies, but we won't have the full Heroes and crossover. So she's only going to be getting 150% on super instead of 250. And that's such a huge amount. Like you open up the menu, look at her defense, and she's getting an extra like 2.5 times that on top of that, what she's got already, plus the super attack effect. So if she gets an additional super, she's then greatly raising her defense again. So that's very, very good. So yeah, we should be hopefully okay here to finish off Frieza. Ideally he doesn't destroy Dark Mask King here, but although Dark Mask King ideally supers before getting supered by Frieza, but he got a double super, so he's all good. Yeah, the one thing I would say that is a bit of a disappointment about Towa's design is that the extra 15% is only for 2 turns. Because again, like I say, in a non-showcase scenario, you're going to be floating her, which means when she gets that third dodge, that turn is then basically over, and then, you know, the units on the next rotation are going to get an extra 15% support, which is good, but it's not like the craziest thing. So I guess we might as well finish off here. I mean, we need to get a little bit lucky, because depending on how the next rotation pans out, obviously Frieza does the big countdown super. But we are going to have Mechikabra on the turn. I mean, the countdown super, the whole point of it is that it does big crazy damage. So I think even with like a ton of rainbow orbs and post super, Mechikabra probably dies to it. But you know, we could put Towa in slot 3, as will be her designated role going forwards. She's got a 65%. Actually, how many times has she dodged so far? She's got a dodge chance. She might dodge it. If she doesn't dodge it, she dies. Feels kind of bad to end her showcase with her getting nuked by the Golden Frieza Super. But to be fair, I think considering what HP's on now, we're going to kill him anyway next turn, so it'll be fine. Because, yeah, it'll be Dark Mask King will do a bit of damage. Towa will do some decent damage. And then Mechikabra, as long as we get a decent amount of orbs, should finish off Frieza. So... But yeah, I mean, she seems really, really good. Again, like her links, especially because Fu is probably going to share a lot of links with her as well. So I'm very much looking forward to the new units releasing to see just how much of a buff they are to some of these EZAs that definitely at the moment, where we have to run them on the already existing version of the Heroes team, are obviously not as crazy as they could be, right? So I won't hit the nodes here because... I mean, Dark Mask King wouldn't do crazy damage even if we hit them all anyway, but might as well let Towa and then Mechikabra finish off Frieza. So yeah, she's been hovering anywhere between around 6, 7, 8 million until we got the crazy Towa turn with all the links. And then obviously she drops like a 12 billion attack, which, again, like I said at the beginning, it's cool to see that in this showcase. But obviously if you are using her as a floating unit, you're not going to be seeing that unless you're running like Int Towa on rotation. Unless, of course, like we say, when we see Fu's links, if Fu is sharing a bunch of extra links with her, and he's a unit that you're running on rotation, then you potentially are going to see some of these turns with her getting those extra links active. And a lot of those links are giving her a pretty decent amount of attack. Scientist, obviously the one giving a ton of defense, is really good. So yeah, she seems very good, especially for a free-to-play unit. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section of the free-to-play STR Towa. Hopefully, I mean, she was decent on release. I would say on release, she was more impressive than the female warrior in black is this year. So, I mean, we can only hope that her EZA next year is anywhere near as good as Towa's. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.